And by the way, that's why this is all a test. If you're sitting there and you're like, I have this crush, and I want to ask my crush out, but you're afraid to. Why are you afraid to ask the crush out?
Afraid what they'll say.
It means more than that. You're right. But it means more than that. It represents more than that. Because what does them saying no mean? What does it represent? Rejection, but what are they rejecting?
Your looks, how you are.
Get deeper. It means something even deeper than that.
They're rejecting.
Because what's the point of two people coming together? What's that? Deeper.
So yeah, two is part of it.
300,000 years of human history.
Oh,
It's a biological thing to procreate. To procreate.
oh, yeah.
To make more of ourselves. Now, oh, I'm sorry. No, the point of us to come together is just so we can be happy. No, what makes but what makes you happy? Like, but that's why when we say like, if you're not happy, you should, because so that matters. Because what's the rejection then? Listen, what's the rejection then? It's not the rejection of your looks, but by the way, it is your looks, but because your looks represent something. There's something about your looks where you're not quite symmetrical, which means that you're not genetically the best that can be found. If you go up to a girl and you ask her out, the reason it's so terrifying is because whatever answer she gives you is an answer that's either saying, yes, you're worthy of having your genes passed down the line, or I'm looking at you, your genes are not worthy of being passed down the line. Your genetic line should end here.
Yeah.
Now, here's it's not happening at a conscious level. That's the unconscious thing that's happening. What do you think that the myth of Medusa is about? It's about walking up to someone and being so terrified of staring at them in the face that you become immediately petrified. You're turned to stone because you're just frozen because of the existential terror of your genetic line passing off into eternity and never going forward. Because once that happens, you die. Everything about you dies. Yes, 100%. You've never, and I think if we just look at it on the superficial level, and it makes sense to, because that if we look at it at the real level that it operates, it's terrifying. Isn't that why we call, like when someone dies, they've gone to a better place. They passed away. They died. No, they kicked the bucket. They died. No, they've done it.
Is that a hanging one?
Because we don't want to call it what it is a lot of times, because the reality of it is so terrifying. And so, if a guy walks up and he asks you out and you reject him, understand that's the message you're sending. No, your genetic line is not. Well, it's because I don't know. I'm looking for someone. Yeah, isn't that what you want to pass on into the? Because these things represent something. Intelligence. Why? Because your number one predictor of your success and your ability in life is connected to your intelligence. If a person is smart, they will figure things out. If you have problems in life, that person is going to figure things out. That makes you feel safe. If a lion jumps out at you from behind some bushes, that person's going to not run. If they make you feel safe, you know you can rely on them. If you're walking down the street and somebody puts a gun in your face and they're going to rob you, that person makes you feel safe. If you both lose your jobs and your mortgage is at stake, that person also makes you feel safe. They're a protector by nature. You know that you're safe and protected by that person. You take those ancient instincts and you apply them to modern sensibilities, and it all carries over. Why funny? Because you have to have a level of confidence to be funny. What's so funny? Everything. If you look at it the right way. Why? Is death funny? Yeah. Why? Because you have the confidence to face it. And if you have the confidence to face things, you realize that you can have so much confidence that something becomes funny. You don't want somebody who's so funny over here that now they don't take anything seriously in life, and that's why, that's why he can't keep a job. That's why he can't move forward in life. That's why he can't progress in his career. You don't want somebody who takes things so unseriously, but you also don't want the person who sits there and you tell them a joke and they're like, that's funny. Because that person's same thing. They're not fun to be around. They're not interesting to be around. Because what is it what is one of the hallmarks of children? Yeah, but even more than that, they're funny. They're little jesters running around who do the weirdest things. They're even funny when they sneeze. Do you want to suppress that in a kid, or do you want to be able to take the time to enjoy that kid? Well, that's one of the reasons that a person being funny is going to appeal to us at a biological level, because that's a person who tells you they can enjoy things of life. So what's the point of being safe and protected if you can't enjoy it as well and have it be funny? Because a person who can laugh at things, that's a person who exudes confidence. If you're confident, that means that you can handle the curveballs that life throws at you. You're a clown ninja. That's why these things appeal to us. Nothing is just anything. And when you're trying to figure out why you are the way that you are, that's why you have to go into the unconscious. And of course, the only way to do that is to reason it out, try to figure it out. And of course, every vice, as you're saying, has that extreme. Somebody who has too much of a sense of humor such that they can't keep a job. They don't take anything seriously. The person who is so protective that they're actually controlling. They become a tyrant. And so now you can't even walk down the street without it becoming a fight. But you also don't want the person who, as I saw a video a few years ago, this man and woman, I think it was in England if I'm not mistaken, and they're walking out, it's all in surveillance. These 5 guys surround them, and the guy recognizes what's happening, and he kind of walks away. And they attack the girl, and they punch her in the face, and they attack her, and then he comes back, oh, try to stop. And he's actually a really big dude. And they punch him, and he kind of runs away. And the whole while, the girl's trying to defend herself, and this guy's everybody calm down, trying to calm everyone down. Do you think you're going to calm down this crowd? No, it takes an intelligence and a sense of protection to even say, I may have to give my life for this. I may have to give my life for this. There's no greater love that a person has but that they give their life for their friends. And there's no greater love that a person can have but that they would give their life for the people who they love. And there's no greater bravery or selflessness that a person would have but that they would give their life for strangers even. So my point is this. Yes, you're terrified, you're petrified of asking your crush out. But if you don't have the courage to ask them out and to put that to the risk, can they really depend on you to protect them when things really go bad? You're afraid to say words for fear of rejection. How can they possibly count on you to be brave enough to protect them in real life? There's your first test. Do you have the courage to go? And they say, it's confidence. Yeah, fine, but it's confidence because that's your first test of your willingness to protect, to put yourself to the risk. That doesn't mean that if you have that courage that they're going to say yes. But it does mean that they will never say yes if you don't have the courage to try it. Because as much as we try to undo genetics in 2024, as much as we try to undo biology, these things stay, man. These things stay. This is why I say that one of the most dangerous things in the world is useless men. Because useless men find something eventually to do with their time, but they look for a meaning, they look for a purpose, and sometimes you find it in the worst parts of the internet, the darkest recesses of the internet. You find it in Andrew Tate videos or something like that, because you don't know any other way. And if you think that strong men are dangerous, wait till you see what weak men are capable of. Men who are afraid to ask out a crush, do you think those are the same kinds of men who get wrapped up in political movements and just go along with it because they don't have the courage to stand up against it? Probably.